Perdition, our show on a Monday. We like to talk about waivers, and we're looking at Week 10 waivers, but instead of just talking about names, I'm also going to show you some film on some players you might consider adding. Let's get started with some players who might be available in shallower leagues. And I'll put Doug Martin right back at the top there where I had him last week. Of course, the Raiders are bad, but things are rarely as good or as bad as they seem, and Martin basically was the sole highlight from that Thursday night game for the Raiders. I'm not going to be comfortable starting him, but I can guarantee that there's a team in every fantasy league who can add him. Duke Johnson had the big receiving day against Kansas City. You're basically getting James White if James White played for the Browns. He can definitely be useful too, but he's also probably touching it less frequently on a given week. Valdez-Scantling has a nice-looking game log, but realize he's living off of one or two big plays a week. That's a hard way to be a pure fantasy starter. Ito Smith, a repeat from last week, and Jack Doyle, off of bye, healthy now. He looks like a clear fantasy starter at tight end to me in Week 10. Hey, let me thank today's sponsor. It is Quip, the makers of my new toothbrush. I use this twice a day. This is my actual toothbrush. I get props today. You turn it on by pressing it here. Can you hear that? It's the Tesla of toothbrushes. I absolutely love it. And the best part about it is, this is it. There's no charger. So my bathroom sink doesn't have an electric toothbrush charger on anymore. It's genius. They send you a new brush head that has a charger in it every 3 months. So you never need to plug the thing in. It's a fantastic idea. Right now, if you're interested in trying it out, it's a great deal, but we can get you a better deal. If you go to getquip.com/HarrisVideo, they will send you your first brush head refill for free. You'll get credit to apply toward it. I really recommend it. I've loved using it. It's probably my favorite toothbrush I've ever had, and they are calling it the Tesla of toothbrushes. So if you wanted to try it out, if you heard about Quip, go to getquip.com/HarrisVideo. Okay, back at it with waiver ads, who are likelier to be available in many more leagues. The ownership percentages I'm showing here are in Yahoo leagues, and is there anyone I love? I don't know, there's not. And suffice to say, it's not a week you're blowing a big percentage of your remaining fab money, nor would I be giving up the top waiver claim in a league that's competitive on waivers for any of these players. McGuire is a repeat from last week. You can watch last Monday's show. He was okay against Miami, but he is the Jets' number 2 running back. Traquan Smith is I think by now, multiple-time repeat. I thought about Christian Kirk of the Cardinals in his place on this list. I had a hard time getting past the Josh Rosen factor, but I do have a few new names on here, so let's watch some film on them. Clearly the reason we'd be adding Mike Davis is that Chris Carson was already questionable for Week 9 and then wound up leaving at halftime with his hip injury. And I don't know, this is what Davis is, power back, give him a hole, he'll crash through it. He's short, he's squat, he's powerful, and he is not graceful. You are not getting electric plays out of Mike Davis. This is sort of what passes for a spin move with this guy. He's like Chris Carson, but with a little less juice, a little less finishing off runs with attitude. There's nothing wrong with his gain, but he's not really a playmaker. And from earlier in Sunday's game against the Chargers, here's proof of that. You can definitely throw Davis little dump-offs, but dude, you are not Alvin Kamara. Don't run backwards. It's fun. It was fun to watch. It got the blood pumping for a few seconds, but what Davis is a straightforward power player, not a dance and be electric kind of player. And of course, this is the kind of player he is. And that's why he's worth a shot, taking a chance that Carson won't be around. The Seahawks play against the Rams again this week. You can obviously see a shootout and the game flow get away from Seattle, but you can also see a short touchdown opportunity early in that game the last time they played the Rams. Davis has a better than even chance of converting a short touchdown opportunity. This is speculative, and the way it could turn into any kind of long-term solution is if Chris Carson's hip injury is bad enough to have him miss a bunch of games. We don't even know for sure when I'm recording this that Carson is missing Week 10 at all. We're not sure. As a speculative ad, that's fine. Like Rashad Penny, the rookie, hasn't shown a lot to this point. If there's no Carson, I think Davis is kind of a league average running back, but running behind a very good offensive line with a quarterback who demands attention. There's potentially some value in that role. Okay, I'm on running back, so let's talk about the rookie in Philadelphia, Josh Adams. Like Davis, Adams falls under the category of speculative, guessing about situation. But the Eagles' offense is pretty good, and they don't have Jay Ajayi, and they sure could use a power back, at least in my eyes. Adams had 9 carries for 61 yards against the Jags in London in Week 8, so maybe he fits the bill. What do we see so far from Adams? Listen, I mean, he's not what you'd call maneuverable. I'll show some stuff I like in a moment, but you can see here that as he approaches the left side of the line, time to cut back, he doesn't really do it, right? It's not the kind of player he is. 6'2", 225, big kid who, I'll show you some evasive maneuvers right when he gets the ball, but I don't know, on the run, reacting to traffic, it's just not going to be his game. You can see it here too. Not really any room to accelerate, so he drifts, and once he's underway and thinks I better cut back, yeah, he's heavy-footed, right? Sort of runs with gravy in his boots, as they say. But he's a strong guy, and here he stays alive to make a couple extra yards. And when he takes the handoff, he's not completely without moves. Here he sees he's about to be sort of plugged up the middle, and he jump cuts to avoid a mass of people, and he powers his way to 7 yards. Gives us a sense that he sees it. He doesn't want to just run blindly into the pile and drill something every time. And this was his long run of that day. It's a huge hole to get through. Dude reminds me of most, Josh Adams reminds me of, is Latavius Murray. And frankly, if he's Latavius Murray, rumbling into the open at 225 pounds, he should have a role in Philly's offense. A little bit upright, pretty easy to hit. Doesn't have Murray's top-end speed, but otherwise, I do see some similarities. So you saw that Adams is my number 2 waiver ad of the week, and he's very speculative because we just don't know. We don't know what the role will be. The Eagles did not trade for a running back. Instead, they traded for Golden Tate. So what they've pretty much got unless Darren Sproles comes back, and even then, he sort of belongs to that Smurf category that Corey Clement and Wendell Smallwood belong to. I don't know for sure that we're going to get anything like close to a full-time workload from Josh Adams, and I probably would need to see it multiple times before I'd really trust it. But you can see the way through to where that could happen in the Eagle offense, and it's a good offense. So could he be a touchdown maker? Again, very speculative, but I don't think it's a terrible ad in a slightly deeper league. And lastly, I'm going to have to do this, aren't I? AJ Green's injured. You saw John Ross on that list. I don't particularly want to endorse John Ross, and I'm not going to show you a lot of great plays because he doesn't have a lot. But AJ Green's going to miss apparently at least a couple of games. Maybe the toe will cause him not to have surgery, but the Bengals could sure use somebody. So all right, John Ross, let's take a look. I mean, here is probably the best of it, his film. He's lined up at the bottom of your screen, outside right. And frankly, as we roll it, I don't know what the heck coverage they're playing here. The Falcons, it looks like man. I guess they're trying to disguise a zone because the dude who's supposed to have Ross just lets him go, and no safety is anywhere close. Easy money. And unfortunately, this, as you see, him limping here, is the play where Ross hurt his groin and basically has been lost to us for more than a month. And otherwise, it's mostly been knuckleheaded stuff from John Ross. So here he's wide left, and it's late in the game, and the Bengals are down 7, and they need a play, and he runs a deep post. And sure, Andy Dalton probably shouldn't throw this. This is probably more on him than Ross. But keep running, dude. Don't just assume that because a safety's in front of you, and you're not going to get past him. Keep running. At least you could have knocked this away from being intercepted and ruining the game. On this one, earlier in the same game, he's split wide right. I mean, this is the kind of trust you want your quarterback showing. At the snap, the safety on that side chooses to cover the tight end over the top, which means, hey, I'm Andy Dalton. I've got the fastest man in combine history, one-on-one on the outside. I'm going to give him a chance to make a play. But again, and I wish we had a better replay to show this, Dalton is expecting Ross to come back, to fight for it, to fight his way back and maybe make a catch heading to the sidelines. And no, it's probably not the most accurate throw, and Dalton doesn't have anything close to an elite arm, but that's not great fight by John Ross. This is from last year. Run an end around for him. You can see he's pretty fast. And then he gets into the defense and he gets popped and pops the ball up in the air. Room service. I think that's Jadeveon Clowney. Big play the other direction. I don't know. Nothing about this dude says trustworthy. Back to this year again. In the red zone. A little slant. Come on, man. Catch the ball. Obviously, I'm showing you bad highlights. I would love it if there were a ton more good highlights to show. All right, I will do it. I'll give you one other good one. He's out wide left here, and the defense just leaves him man on man and on an island, and you can see his shake at the line of scrimmage. You can see he's got quickness, makes this touchdown catch. Who would argue that the raw material isn't there? So we can't argue that there's not raw talent. There is, and there's potentially a pretty valuable situation if there's no A.J. Green in the picture. Tyler Boyd is the one you want, no question about it, but Tyler Boyd is no kind of deep threat. He's more of a technician and a hands guy. And so there's a huge opportunity for Ross to take some of the A.J. Green deep threat role. He's supposed to be the fastest guy in the league. Now, the likeliest scenario is it's like Josh Malone doing that stuff, and then maybe Cody Core or Alex Erickson playing underneath. And I don't know, likeliest is that John Ross doesn't factor at all because can't stay healthy at the very least, and then isn't reliable as I've shown you on film. But who's going to be a potential fantasy starter there? I'm going to guess it's not Josh Malone. It's probably nobody. But if it's anybody in A.J. Green's absence, I'm hoping that it's John Ross. I would need to see it certainly at least once and maybe multiple times. But again, as a stash in a not great week, with a lot of ceiling, of course he has a lot of ceiling, you can take a shot on John Ross. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.